teach you how to do laundry today.
Hi, I'm Adrian, and in order to do your laundry, you need a washer and a dryer and detergent. And you also can have fabric softener when you do put the clothes in the washer, as well as bleach if you're doing some whites and you want to put some bleach in there. And when you put them in the dryer, you can have some dryer sheets to make them smell good.
Hi, I'm Chelsea, and the first step to doing your laundry is to sort it into piles. You're going to have a dark pile, a white pile, and a colored. And if you have reds, you'll have a red pile. Second, you want to read your tags to make sure that they don't need to be hand washed or put in a specific load. Go.
Alright, well today I'm going to teach you how to do a front loading wash, and we're going to put in the whites. And this is for a front loader, so you open up the door and you put them in, and then you shut the door. And then you want to put your detergent in right here, so you take this and pour it in there. And then if you wanted to take your fabric softener, you put it in there. And you read the cap or whatever to say how much you put in, and then you close it. And then you decide what type of load you have, if you have like a normal or a heavy load or sport or something. We're just on normal. And you always want to wash it in cold water. And then the only thing you don't want to wash in cold water is your sheets. And that's it.
Now we're going to move on to talking about stains and different stain removing methods. The first one we're going to talk about is deodorant stains. Alright, so look, you got some deodorant on your shirt. Oh crap. So you just take this little thing, dryer sheet, and you wipe it off a little hard. And you're good to go. You can leave the house and no one will ever notice. Alright, so our next stain is juice that we are going to show you how to get out. So you spill some juice on your shirt. Just keep going. And then you okay? And then you take the baking powder or soda, doesn't matter which, and you sprinkle it on. Like, wherever the stain is, you know, we're just going to focus on that part right there. Alright? You just kind of like rub it in. And then you're going to take the, and then you dab it with cold water. And then, you know, and then you put some more on. Right? And then you let it set for about, I don't know, an hour or so. And then you put it in the washing machine and, you know, treat it like normal laundry. And when it comes out of the washer, make sure the stain is out, which it will be. And then you put it in the dryer. And then you're done.
Next, we're going to show you how to remove some grass stains. But first, we need to put some grass stains on these jeans. Okay, well, here's some grass stains right here. We're going to go show you how to remove these.
Alright, now we're going to get the grass stain out, and what you want to do is take detergent and pour a necessary amount on it, so we're just going to pour about that much. And then you want to rub it in. You can use your finger or toothbrush or something. And then you're going to rub it in, and then you want to take cold water, or actually you want to let it set first. And then you're going to take some cold water and pour it on it, and then just let that soak up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to launder it like normal. And then it should come out, but then if it doesn't, you can also try rubbing alcohol.
Okay, next we're going to show you a ketchup stain and how to remove it. So first we're going to make our stain. And the first thing you want to do is try to remove it as much as you can with a paper towel. Try not to smear it, but you want to make sure you get as much of it off as you can. Now you want to add some detergent to the stain. Okay, and then rub it in. Okay, I'm going to wipe my hands off, and then add some cold water to it. Okay. Next, you want to add some stain remover, which, by the way, OxyClean, according to About.com, is the #1 stain remover, so we're going to use OxyClean. Go ahead and spray that on the stain. And you're going to want to let that set and dry before you put in the laundry. And then you're going to want to launder it as normal, and the stain should come out. Okay.
Now we're going to give you some tips on how to do your laundry. First of all, you want to check your pockets before you put them into the washer to make sure that nothing gets in there like gum or chapstick.
Or ink, because that could ruin the whole load if a little pin is in there and just explodes. Oh, and also don't put your stained clothes in the dryer because then the stain will set and chances of getting out that stain are very unlikely.
And you want to doubt, you want to wash with cold water.
Yes.
Except for coffee, you want to put hot water on that.
And you always want to put your sheets in the hot water too, just because you don't want to get like bed bugs or anything. You want to kill those things. Also, wash your thins, like your delicate loads, separate because you don't want like those big clothing items like jeans or something to rough up against them and create a hole or something.
Like Adrian has in her shirt.
Yeah, like I have a hole in my shirt right now. I may have gotten that from not doing my laundry correct, so we'll work on that later now.
And now, you want to carry a Tide Go pen for the on-the-go stains, like when you're at a restaurant or at school.
Yeah. And turn your printed clothes inside out when you're washing them, or just turn all your clothes inside out if you can, because that way your chances of fading will not be as likely because it'll be inside out. Sometimes you get holes in your clothes, and you don't want to get rid of the clothes because you still want to wear them because they still fit and everything. So, what you got to do is sew them. First thing to do when you're sewing something of your clothes, right now we're going to use some sweatpants, but we're just going to put it inside out so we don't get those little hole things like the knot and stuff showing on the outside so it doesn't look awkward. And then you pick out a needle, and then you look through the thread and see what color you have that's most appropriate to go with your clothing item. And we're kind of limited in our colors right now, so what we're going to do is choose white because that seems like the best choice. So, first thing to do when you're sewing is make a knot. First, you just kind of go in, then you're out. Knots really are easy to make, and when you mess up, you can just keep trying again and again. And go out again, and then you just kind of go back in through the loop, and look at that. That's a really nice sturdy knot. Alright? Now you want to make these as close together as possible because, well, you want it to stay and you don't want it to rip again. So we're going to make these really tight. And also another option is when you're sewing, you can always use a sewing machine. Those actually are a lot better and faster, but they can be expensive. So if you don't have one, just sew it yourself. Yeah, so we're just going to keep going in and out. Alright? Nice and tight little lines. You just keep going and going until you get to the end. We have a pretty massive hole here, so sometimes it could take a while. And the farther apart you go, like, the quicker it'll go, but it might rip sooner or later. Anyway, you just keep repeating this till you get to the end, and then you tie another knot, and we're just going to quit this hole early. You're going to tie another knot right here, and what you do is you just create that same little loop you did before. Oh, you got a loop over there, you just go in it. Alright, and then you do another one just to make it safe. You don't want it to rip again, because that's just annoying. Nice and tight. That's a pretty good knot right there. Then you just gotta cut it, kind of close, yeah. And these things might bother your leg once you have them on. So I don't know why there's 3, but you're just gonna keep cutting them and make them short. And then take your pants, put them back to the right where they were. And we have another one in here. This is just from earlier when we tried to sew them, so we're just gonna rip that out. Look, now you can wear these pants in public again.
Alright, so as our presentation is coming to a close, we're hoping we helped you learn stuff, whether it was from sewing or how to do your laundry or, you know, that OxiClean is the #1 stain remover. Whatever it was, we hope you learned something. So, thanks for watching.